My name is Brian Deller. I teach at Elsie Allen High School in Santa Rosa, California. My subject that I teach is chemistry, both academic and honors chemistry, and I'm a 2017 Carlston Family Foundation honoree. I'm glad you asked that question. I think when I first started teaching, it was really more about getting fun things out and things for the kids to do in science. And about 8-9 years ago, I started reading on standards-based grading and the work of Robert Marzano and Dylan William. And really the strength in teaching comes from constant assessment, constant monitoring, constant feedback. So some of the ways I do it are questions, maybe asking just direct questions of a person, but a lot of times I like to use whiteboards where they can write their answers in groups. And it's a really non-threatening way for them to be incorrect. And they can kind of look around and then change it, or in groups they can do it. And it's a nice way for them to display what they know or they don't know. And sometimes I'll maybe ask them how they came up with the answer. I'll ask them hold that idea and then ask other students to respond, and then I'll come back to them and say, so what have you heard different? That's one way, check for understanding. I like to use exit tickets, so I kind of get an idea at the end of the day, and I use the exit tickets to form what I'm going to do the next day. And then just a lot of frequent different types of assessments, so I'm constantly getting feedback every day. I have a warm-up, I look at that, I evaluate that for my lesson. So I'm constantly trying to stay engaged with all the kids and where they're at. So some kids are just like really struggling with vocabulary. Mm-hmm. And other kids are like ready to move on to kind of like the big concepts behind the vocabulary. So I think checking for assessment and giving that feedback, not just in here's the answer, but so how did you come up with that? Why did you think a physical property would behave that way? So kind of letting them work their way through it. So I teach chemistry, and I realize that 1 in every 8 million kids is probably going to go into chemistry as a degree. So I really think my number one expectation in my class is literacy, that I'm using chemistry as a vehicle to increase literacy, which I never would have thought of, when I started teaching. I was going to turn kids on to science, and I realized it's really about understanding how to communicate ideas, read ideas, critically think, analyze material critically. So I think that's my number one expectation. Secondly, I think along with that, creative thinking and critical thinking, I should say. How do you take a problem and extend it from a specific into a general condition? Because that's really what you have to do in science or in anything. It's like, here's the thing. How do you apply it in numerous novel situations? And I think I would say those two are what I mostly focus on is the literacy and critical thinking skills to taking specifics to generalizations.